Hello. Uh, I never know how to start off these videos, but I just want to say hello, everybody. Uh, I kind of wanted to keep my promise of trying to do as many videos as I can. Uh, Today's topic, I think I just mostly wanted to confess something. I guess a vent or something. I don't know. Uh, I'm kind of tired, to be honest, but I still want to do like a quota. Like I want to record a video and finish it today. Like I don't want to miss it. So because if I don't do it today, then tomorrow I'll probably forget about it. So yeah. Uh yeah. Hey. Hi. Hello. I want to talk about my life. Confess. Talk about some things that are gonna be quite difficult. Um. Fuck. Hold on. So when my life started, it wasn't that good. I remember when I was about around 5 years old. Well, actually, before I was 5 years old, my parents used to fight a lot, right? I was exposed to a lot of fighting, a lot of yelling, a lot of toxic stuff, I guess. Stuff I really didn't want to see as a kid. Like really like just made me uncomfortable and very like distraught, I guess. Distraught is the word. Like kind of scared. But it all stopped when my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. I was five when my parents divorced, and then my mom moved to a different building that was actually almost right next to the other building that my dad lived in. So it was like a block away. Um, yeah, a lot of bad memories I have as a child. Some good ones, some I genuinely don't remember because I was a kid. So some things I'm just gonna forget, but naturally, and but yeah, it was kind of rough. So then when my mom divorced, I I was in the middle of kindergarten, I think, or maybe almost. I think it was like first grade when I went to school. Like, well, I don't know, man. I just remembered when I went to first grade. That was the time, around that time, where I kept visiting my mom and I kept coming back, and that actually continued for a long, long time. Just visiting my mom and my dad all the time. So like I'd maybe go to the weekends, stay at my mom's, and then go back to my dad's because I had school, stuff like that. But during that time when my mom wasn't there, I talked about this in another video. There was this woman that came into my life and actually shaped me into the human that I am right now, into the person that I am. I mean, I don't know why I said human, whatever. But she shaped me into the person that I am today, and she was great. She was great, and so was her family. I think her and her family really showed me what it is to have a family and what it's like to be loved. I think she was really great. Uh, so that went on for a little while. When I was 5, 6, 7 years old, went on, and but I also during that time my mom moved, and I actually moved in with my mom kind of. So instead of being in first grade and being with my dad a lot, I went to live with my mom, and my grandma was there as well. Now, this sounds good on paper, but the reality of it was way worse. So, like I said, I was exposed to a lot of fighting when I was younger, and that made me scared all the time and afraid. And I never liked people yelling. Even to this day, I think it kind of like I back away. I don't know if that's a normal reaction. But I do like get a bit afraid. When someone's screaming at me or screaming at someone else. So yeah, but I moved in with my mom and my grandma was there, and it was good for like maybe the first year, I think. Jesus. Okay, I'm just gonna not touch anything. My bad, guys. This phone stand is not very stable, so I kind of have to. Uh, oof. Okay. Like I said before, I got cut off. I moved in with my mom. It was good for like a year, but then it started. I lived there for about. I moved in there in 2016 with my mom, and I was there at a different school for about 3 years. So from second grade to fifth. Uh, and the first year was all right, but the third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade, at my household where my mom was with my grandma, was beginning to get worse and worse. My mom constantly fought with her mom, my grandma, constantly fighting all the time, and I sometimes I couldn't get no sleep. No, no, not that I wouldn't get no sleep. I was a kid. I could easily fall asleep, but I would get woken up often, and I couldn't study, like do my homework all that much because something is gonna happen between me and my mom, and no, between my mom and my grandma, and it did. Very often it did. It was kind of the normal for me, usual thing, which I know now it's not normal. I mean, that should have never happened, but they were angry at each other for a lot of personal reasons. I'm not gonna explain what they are, but I would say, from my understanding now, it's valid. I'd say it's valid, but it's not valid that they did it in front of me and they really should have thought about what they're doing, to me as a small kid. And that really affected me in ways like just that I don't want to argue with anyone, or um, just really like amping up the scare levels when I was a kid. So like I was really afraid, and I remember like calling my dad and crying to him like on the phone, like I wanted to go to his house and just not deal with this. Like I was really young. I would say I was so second grade. I was like 7 to 8 years old, and it continued until like for another two, yeah, 7 to 8 years old. That means it continued to another like when it continued until I was like 10 or 11, something like that. Anyways, uh, yeah, so that happened, right? I often so because I moved in with my mom, I kept visiting my dad in the weekends just so I can play on a computer. The only reason why I went there was not because of my dad, to be honest. It was because I had a really old PC that was probably made in the 2000s and was more like a office PC. It barely ran anything. It barely worked. But what I did play on it was Roblox. That's all I ever played. I couldn't play any other game. I can't remember. The only other game I played on it, I think, was Slime Rancher, and even that lagged. I can't remember for sure, but I think sometimes I played Minecraft, but barely because again it was slow as hell. But yeah, that was my comp uh, for a while when I was younger, and it was like my childhood PC. So yeah. But anyways, the situation between my mom and my grandma got worse and worse until it ended up in a stalemate, sort of, where it did calm down, but my grandma moved out. Well, my grandma moved out to her home country in, like, I would say 2020 or 2021. I'm leaning more forwards to 2021. I think that was the year when my grandma went to her home country, and I haven't seen her since. I've only called her, heard her, she calls me. I know she loves me and all, but I haven't seen her for like 5 years, maybe. So my grandma probably doesn't even know how we look like. I mean, I barely show her myself on video. So yeah. Anyways, when I moved in with my dad, when I finished fifth grade, I actually said something bad to one of the girls at almost near the end of the school year because actually, I'm not gonna skip over this entire part, but at school, during that school specifically, I was really, really bullied by the girls. Um, the boys was okay, I had some. Well, actually, no, I barely had any friends. I think I had like one friend, and that was a guy named Simon. Some Simon guy I remember, but he actually, I remember him like playing the guitar. So yeah, he went to guitar classes, and he actually was the music kid, that guy. Also, he did a bunch of like artistic stuff as well. A lot of very artistic guy. Um, anyways, but that school was also not only was my household bad, but also from constant arguing and the panic and the fear that I had, and I kept crying and getting woken up and hearing all this shit and fights going on. I couldn't fucking bear it. Um, and my school was not worse, but it was also not relaxing or calming. It didn't calm me whatsoever. The school work I had no problem with. I don't mind. I didn't mind school giving me work and some tests and whatever. Sure, but yeah, I just knew it wasn't my fault that I couldn't study and I got bad grades sometimes. Whatever. But the main problem at that school was there were these girls that bullied me a lot, and there were usually these duos, one duo and a second duo. I remember their fucking names too, except for the fourth one. The fourth girl was actually nicknamed IKEA. I'm not kidding. She was named IKEA. And I to this day can't remember her real name because we kept calling her that nickname for so long. It kind of got, it kind of grew into you, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to call it, but yeah. I'm trying to move closer. Hold on. But yeah, I got really, really badly bullied by the girls, and I couldn't do anything about it. Uh, yeah, it was just unfair because I'm a guy, and they were girls, so always, of course, always the teacher gave them a pass every time. It made me so pissed off. It made me so angry as a kid, so angry because I don't even know what it was for. I think I was just different, just being born as a Muslim in a country that's mostly atheist, like a really, really atheist, and just getting made fun of like that is just unfair because it was definitely like racially motivated or something, or like something like that. Because I know they were doing it because of that. I was a normal kid. I didn't do anything bad. It's just I really got bullied by these girls in those 3 years, maybe even 4 years it was. I don't remember, but I know it ended in fifth grade when goddamn my fucking nose. When near the end of the year, we went to a park that had like sand on it, right? It was a park where there was sand and there was like these this playground, and these girls, right, the second duo, there were four people in total, but two duos. So, and these girls kept throwing sand at me, and I said a bad word, like I called them a bitch when I was in fifth grade, and it kind of started this whole dispute, and it wasn't nice. So ultimately, I got lectured by the teacher, by the principal, and when my mom was seeing all this and heard about it, she, I think it was her idea for me to move in with my dad and go to school there because these people are fucking insufferable. She knew that my classmates were bad. I always told her about it, and I cried, man. I always cried, and it was bad. It was rough, really rough. Now you would think that it would get better when I moved in with my dad, but it was quite the opposite. It was that, but 10 times worse. Not the school part. The school I went to there for from sixth grade. Fuck, I can't say it in English. Hold on. So from sixth grade to nine, uh, from grade six to grade nine, I it was just full of retards. That was the class for 3 years. It was just full of retards. A lot of problems from them I got because they kept interrupting teachers. We didn't give a shit. I mean, they didn't give a shit. I kind of did, but whatever. It was like you couldn't fucking teach anything in that class. So, but the worst part about it was my dad. I moved in with my dad, and it was quite. It was hell for me. It was hell for me. So basically, the routine was wake up in the morning, right, and get yelled at by my dad for some unknown reason. It could be anything, the slightest inconvenience, and I would get yelled at like I don't know, kicked the dog, the family dog, for example. I don't know. I never had a dog, but I'm just saying examples. Like I did something bad to a dog, or I did something really really horrible to be yelled at like that. I got yelled at. I got threatened by my dad. I got sometimes it was physical, and I remember a lot of bad stuff happening in my household, like this one time where he was drunk and he would just start like, I wouldn't say he would start beating me, but he would like, this one day in particular, I remember him getting drunk and just hitting me, like slapping me across the face and whatever. I was like, I swear to God, on my soul, I was playing at my computer like always. He comes in the room, he says some stupid shit. I'm like, what? Excuse me, what? I don't understand what he's saying. And he's just getting mad that I'm having fun at the computer and that I'm like just enjoying my free time. He starts slapping me across the face. I try to get in the other room. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, and it was just so fast I couldn't even like comprehend. But he was drunk, and he abused me basically, especially that day. I mean, he was always abusing me, but that's when he took it too far, and that's one of the core memories I remember of, like, things that he's top 10 worst things he's ever done. So that's like an example of how my household was. I would get in the morning. I would wake up, get yelled at, go to school, right? Uh, Listen to my dumbass classmates that I hated with all my heart, I had one friend that was a gypsy, and to this day I still have contact with him, and I think he's a good guy. But besides that one dude, everybody else dumb as shit. Uh, there was only one teacher that I really liked. That was my Czech language teacher. How do I say this? Like for example, for Americans it's English class, and for where I live, it's a Czech class. So like language Czech. Anyways, there was only one good teacher, but the other teachers, right, alongside with the dumbass classmates, I was also getting mediocre grades, not very good ones, I'd say. And I could have done better if I could have had a normal household and I could study and do my work. But no, it was really rough that I said fuck this, and I gamed a lot. You know, I played games a lot just so I can escape the reality that is my house. And the teachers were also very unpleasant. They would tell me that I'm gonna be a nobody, that I'm not trying. The worst thing they said all the time is that I never tried. I never tried anything, that I'm hopeless, or that I that I suck or whatever. And it was just bad because every teacher was like this except for one, and almost every teacher was like this. And it was bad. I came back home. My dad was still there for a little bit, and like it was a switch up basically. Some days he would do nothing, he would be fine, and some days like it's every other day. So like day one could be normal, and day two could be like something, and then day three could be like extremely like bad with him in the house. He would yell at me. I would come back home from school and I would get more bullshit thrown at me, like shit on top of shit on top of shit. That was my day, and I had to do other shit that was like homework and just stuff that I wanted to do, like work out. But I never really did that when I was in school. Never. I think maybe I started working out when I was in ninth grade, but I I, I barely did that, to be honest. And I had to go to sleep. And when I couldn't do anything and I didn't want to study nothing, rarely I did actually try for like tests and stuff because I know that shit was serious. But even then, when I studied, I still fucking did a horrible job at just doing my test right, because I was constantly filled with such bullshit. I was constantly reminded of some inconvenience that my dad was saying, and my focus was always out of range of what was actually important. So it was really bad. So from sixth grade to ninth grade, another 3 years of hell, right? And when I finished eighth grade, oh, I forgot to mention. So let's backtrack a little bit. When I was around 10 or 11 years old, my dad did something really, really, really bad that I can't say on camera. I just, I can't. I know it's bad and I can't reveal it, but he just know the basic fundamental thing you should know about my dad is that he is not a good person. Whatever you say, he is not a good person. He's 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 either pretending that he's good or he's just faking it. I just said that, but whatever. Plain and simple, not good person. No, bad person. When I was around 10 or 11 years old, I don't exactly remember when that was, but my dad did something really horrible, like terrifyingly horrible, and it ruined the relationship between the lady that came into my life and shaped me into the person that I am today, and her family. So I lost connection with them for quite some time until when I was like 15, when we reconnected, and it was all good, right? Listen, I haven't seen her family in a while, right? And I think me and my dad talked it out with her somehow. I don't know. I don't exactly know how it happened, but it wasn't. That doesn't mean it was entirely good. It was still bad because she kind of like visited me most of the time, or she kind of like lived there as well. I think. I just don't know why. I don't know. Maybe because my dad gave a cheap price, cheap rent. Maybe that's why. But she was there. She lived there for a bit in a room because it was like a three. It was like a 3 room plus kitchen apartment. But we reconnected when I was 15, and when I finished 8th grade, and I was going through my summer break, uh, something really bad happened. So, if you haven't seen my other video when I was talking about her, sorry, I had to burp. Fuck, she died. She she got really weak. She got stressed out because of my dad. Because she was always like she was very very worried about me, and she knew how my dad acted like, and she knew what, it was, and basically on top of all the stress by my dad and just worrying about me, she got weak. Not because of that, but it was partly due to the stress. She got something happened with water inside her, like the stomach. I think something stomach water. I don't really remember what it was, but because of that she got weak and she died, resulting in the death of cancer. Actually, she had cancer for 10 years. So ever since I was 5 years old, when I met her, she had cancer, and I didn't know that, even though her hair was like, when I was growing up, I realized her hair was like falling out, or maybe like she had less hair or something. She was always doing something for her hair, right? And I just thought it was like normal because she was old. Turns out no, she had cancer, and I never knew about it until she died. She never told me she had cancer. I never knew that, and I was so fucking surprised. I was so surprised, so shocked, so absolutely just I turned into a statue of sorrow. I couldn't believe it. What I was hearing, what I saw. I went to a funeral too. I didn't cry. Only when I came back home and I stayed late up at night, and after the funeral at night, around 11 p.m., I remember just crying my eyes out. It was the hardest I've ever cried because I knew I just lost somebody that genuinely cared about me and was so great, so great. She was wise. She was the most jolliest person ever, and just the funniest, jolliest, most kind person ever. And then she died. And that happened during my summer break. Actually, like near the end of it, too. It was. I still remember the date. It was the 8th of. Well, actually, I don't know in English. What? Just the 8th of the month before September, but on the 8th. Eighth, on the eighth day, eighth, eighth, eighth day. Yeah. Sorry, I can't say my th's in English. They're kind of hard sometimes. But yeah, that happened, and my grade 9 was really bad. Because of that, it was probably, even though my average grades were actually the best that have ever been, those 3 years I was at school, like my average, like the total average that combines all the grades into one. So the average was good, but it was so bad. It was so bad. I barely studied. I mean, even less. I didn't give a shit. I always gamed. I was always gaming because that's what made me happy, and I love the games that I used to play. I mean, I still do, but even I was really extreme back then. I mean, I remember playing up until 5 a.m. sometimes, even though it was a school day too. I remember skipping school. I would wake up in the morning, get yelled at, and just didn't want to deal with the shit. So I went to the park that was nearby and I just chilled there for a couple of hours. And then I came back to pretend like I was at school. So I would actually wait like 4 or 5 hours, which wasn't the whole day, but I came back and I told my dad, basically like gaslighting him, that the school day ended early or something like that. Some days I would go, like I wouldn't do that every day because that would be too obvious, but sometimes I did that, and yeah, I remember doing that often, very very often during ninth grade, and it was all because of her death, because I just, my mental state was absolutely abysmal, and I just, and on top of all that, even after her death, my dad remained the same. He was still really bad to me. He kept yelling at me, threatening me, and just being of just not helping me whatsoever with the grief and whatever. I mean, I guess he cared. I guess he cried a little bit too when she died, but fuck that guy. Even after she died, decided to invite someone else into the room to replace her, and because of money. Like, this guy has been doing the same fucking job for like 25 years, and like, what I think is still really fucked up that he invites someone, well, doesn't invite, let someone in the room that my best friend, basically my best friend used to be at, that died of fucking cancer, decides to partner with much gay partner with someone to live at that same room like nothing happened because of fucking financial reasons. Well, fuck you, dad. Because, like, although it may seem to you like it's normal because, oh, she's gone now, we can, like, there's an empty room, why not? Why can't I be fucking left alone? Why couldn't I just be left alone in my own fucking house that you used to rent? Why couldn't I just be alone? For fuck's sake. It was bullshit. It was. And I'm so angry at it. Like I'm getting angry right now just thinking of it. I fucking hate it. I hated every single second of it. I didn't care about the person that was there, and they still live here, by the way. But they moved in with us too, even after we moved out, because this is not the same house. I'm talking about a different house that I used to be at for like 17 years until I moved. We had to move here. Anyways, they're still here, but it was such a terrible time, and he just didn't fucking acknowledge me. He didn't care about what I said. Didn't listen to me. He never listens to me. He's a bad father figure. And after I basically, to wrap things up, since this video is pretty long, I finished school and I took a break for a year, just because of her death again. I sort of took a break. At the same time, I did kind of not understand. Nobody helped me out in the apply system of colleges. By the way, it was very like weird and complicated, and I didn't understand how to apply to schools because your parents are meant to help you with that, and the parents are meant to go to teach. But my dad was useless, and my mom tried, but listen, both of my parents should have fucking helped me out with applying to colleges, whatever. I didn't do any of that. By the way, it was a very difficult time for me to pick a certain profession. I didn't know what I wanted to be anyway. I think one time I I applied for logistics school. Like no, I applied for a logistics profession. I would do logistics, like management and stuff like that, with about like logistics, which are like basically like trucks and whatever, right? That kind of stuff, like delivery. So yeah, that was also a very like kind of a dodged a bullet because I didn't want to be that. I didn't know anything about it. I don't know why. It's just your parents like recommend you stuff like, oh, do this, do that, you know. And my dad like really, really tried to convince me, so I applied to one of the schools that had logistics, but ultimately, you know, at the end, I just told them, you know, I don't want to go here. And the other schools, well, it was kind of weird because they never actually told me if I got in or not. So I don't think so because even even after a few months, they never said anything. So it was weird. So I kind of like took a break for a year, even though that's not what I wanted, but subconsciously I did. And hold on, sorry. Sorry, I recognize when my cat is meowing a lot, like really a lot. That means she probably needs something. So, yeah. And so you're wondering what happened after that year? Did I apply for colleges? No, no, I didn't. Why? I'll tell you. I gotta remember the date though. Around October. So October. So let's say the month before October, right? My mom and my dad were deciding to, well, mainly my mom was decided to go to Germany. She wanted to go to Germany. Well, no, my dad kept giving this, telling my mom to go to Germany and trying to convince her to go there and whatever. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't know the full picture, but basically what I know, right? This is all my dad's fault. What I'm about to say is 100% my dad's fault. Do not believe a word he says. He is at fault here. So, for a long time now, my dad wanted to go to Germany and bring me with him, right? Which actually never happened because he does this shit a lot. He says something, but he never actually does it. So, but anyway, so instead of that, my dad uh, kept telling my mom that I could maybe go to Germany and study there for school. And I had no decision of this, right? And they didn't talk about this much to me. They were kind of very quick about it, but yeah. And I gotta drink some fucking water, man. My throat's dry. Yep. Sorry, had to burp. I'm just trying to remember what I was saying. So they thought it was a good idea for me to go to Germany, right, and study there. Which at the time when I heard about it, I sort of, god damn, I got a white hair? Fuck. Well, well, now I can see what I mean by that. You know, I'm going through fucking miserable times right now. Even my hair's turning white again. The last time I've seen this was like 2 years ago. And then when it disappeared, like it was gone. And now it came back. Fuck. That's not good. That means I'm going through a lot of stress. Whatever. My parents thought it was a good idea to go to Germany because I haven't been to school for a year, and it was maybe a good idea to transfer, something like that. I was like, you know, I didn't know about it too much because it was quick, but when I did hear about it, I was like, okay, fine. But the way it was executed, it was so horrible. So basically, my mom's idea was to just go there, get an apartment, and work, right? Like normally. My dad, on the other hand, decided to fucking tell my mom that he knows someone that can help her with a job so she can make money and buy an apartment later. And well, I mean, no, like a job, but like that gives an apartment as well, that offers like, a place to stay. Those kind of jobs. Anyways, this guy that he fucking knew apparently was bullshit. He didn't know this guy. He didn't know shit. He knew a little bit about him, and the only thing he knew was that he had this. He offered women jobs of cleaning and shit. What my mom used to do, by the way, before she decided to leave the house, abandon her house, like leave it for good and go to Germany and then find out it was shit. Before that, she worked at a hotel where she had terrible fucking co-workers, right? And she washed dishes all day in the morning, all morning, until like 2 p.m. or something like that. And it was hard work because a lot of dishes, a hotel like tourists. There's a lot of tourists and a lot of people that order a lot of shit, because they can afford it, whatever. So hard work on her hands. So that's what she used to do before during that time. And this was me when I was like about 15, right? 15. Yeah, yeah. Wait, was I 15? Oh, no, no, no. I was about 16 during this time, yeah. So, yeah, that's what she did before. And it was normal for her because she could afford everything basically. Uh she worked her ass off, but she was getting good money. So, but my dad said all this, that you can go here, they can offer you a place to stay, he can offer you a place to stay, you can work here. And my mom didn't want something that was like cleaning based because she was already doing that shit in Czechia. So she thought, because my dad convinced her so good, right? And told her she can just leave the house, leave the apartment, leave it for good, like actually leave for someone else to rent, and she can go there and stay in Germany until she makes a bunch of money, and she doesn't even need to pay for rent. What it was a single fucking room with like 5 women. So that probably means there were at least 5 beds. 5 fucking beds in one room, by the way, and it was all like, it was a bunch of different women too. You fucking get it, bro? Anyways, like I was saying, it was like just a room, and it was 5 women in this room, and it was horrible. They smoked, they snored, and she described like all the bad shit that they did. Some of them drinked, smoked, and snored like hell, and she couldn't fucking work there either, right? And it was like a cleaning job type of thing, which she didn't want because she was already doing that. So, anyways, she tried to come back. The owner of that apartment, decided that the only decided to so what this owner does in that building is that, where my mom lived, is that whenever somebody leaves, he renovates the whole place, makes everything new, and increases the rent price because of it. So he did that, exactly that. Well, even before that happens, she would have to pay more money and wait until the apartment would be fixed, like renovated, whatever. So she couldn't go there. My mom was stuck at my dad's place now, and now during October, my dad had another guy which he actually knew, but we went to cut things short. We went to Germany. This guy told us that we can go here to this place, and they would give us in Germany, right? We were in Germany. We were traveling, went to Germany, and this guy told us that that actually lives there for a while, and this is the way he did it. Yeah, we went to a place where they could like offer us after a month a place to stay at, right? To give us a free place and uh potentially a kind of like government paid place, like apartment for mothers and like families and stuff like that. So we went there, and turns out, guess what? It was a fucking asylum. Not the crazy ones. I mean the ones that people go to when they're fucking dealing with war in their country or like coming from poor villages. We came from fucking Prague, bro. And all the kids were like small, young. 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Something like that. I looked so fucking out of place with my mother. We were two of there, too. And this friend of his, my dad's friend, is a fucking douchebag. To this day, fuck him. He was so smug. He was so like laugh. He was laughing so much. He was like so smug. He was like fucking bastard, man. And you didn't fucking bother telling us that it was gonna be an asylum or some shit. He probably did this shit like 30 years ago or something, where it actually did work that way. But nowadays, no, bro. There are so many fucking like immigrants and whatever. And they took our passwords. I mean, passports, not passwords. The fuck, passports. And through October through February, I was stuck there for 3 months, maybe a little bit more. 3 months and 2 weeks. And those 3 months, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat very well. I got really skinny, like you can see. I am very fucking skinny. All my shirts are S's, by the way, like S size. And look, even like you can tell, like this, there's space here, space here. Some of my clothes that I have already don't even fucking fit. I think it really like put me through a really stressful time. My body reacted this way, and it kind of stayed until now, where I'm just skinny and I have to eat a lot or just work out to gain some muscle or fat or whatever. I am very skinny because of that. I think my body reacted that way during because of that trauma. So yeah, it affected me a lot, physically and mentally, and on and it was such a waste of fucking time. For 3 months, I couldn't do shit. And when I came back, by the way, it was during the month where you're supposed to apply for schools. But when I came back, me and my mom, when we came back into his house, he came back. This fucking asshole, the audacity. He came back from his work, my dad, and he told me to shut the. We started arguing or whatever. He's giving me really fucking like rude comments, rude questions, whatever. And he didn't even like. He didn't even seem happy, and he just told me to shut the fuck up. Are you fucking out of your mind? Are you fucking out? Or did you lose your fucking mind somewhere at work? Me and my mom were gone for 3 months. You barely fucking called. You barely said anything. We were gone for 3 months. You see us, not even like, I get you're tired from work, not even happy or whatever, just like almost annoyed, and you tell me to shut the fuck up. So obviously we started arguing, and then it got physical too. My dad wanted to fight me. We were fighting. He punched the wall. He punched the wall. He made a hole in the room that I was staying at. I mean, no, my room, the room that was always my room. He made a fucking hole in the wall, and that I had to repair it a couple months later. And I just couldn't fucking believe it. I went through so much. And during that month, because of that, so much fighting, so much like awkwardness and uncomfortability, I forgot that was the month in February where you're supposed to apply for a fucking college. And I thought it was like a month later or 2 months, a month later basically. I thought it was after February. I forget the name of, wait, January, February, March. Yeah, I thought it was in March. Nope. I looked it up in March, like during the middle, like 15th of March, which, by the way, applying for colleges starts at the 1st of February until the like 30th or 31st. I forget which day, but at the end of February. I thought it was like the same, but with March. I checked at the 15th of March. Nope. It was in February and I missed the fucking time. When I could apply for a college, I could apply for a second round, which was like for the kids that couldn't get in or whatever. Yeah, that never fucking works. There was like the first round, which is like the best, the one where everybody is applying after school, and the second round where like is for the kids who didn't make it or was like the school had a capacity problem or whatever. And there was also a third round, which was like basically hopeless. Third round, I don't even know why they exist. A third round of applying for colleges, which is bullshit, by the way, never even works. That was, I'm guessing, for the people who, I don't know, forgot maybe. I don't know, fucking know. But basically, because of all the shit that I was going through and all the stuff that I was focusing on, when I should have focused on my school and now my fucking dumbass family and my family getting in the way and forcing me to stay at a place for 3 fucking months and I couldn't do shit about it because they took us passports, I mean. I was so pissed. My mom as well. It wasn't her fault. I was with my mom during all of this and she also got kind of affected by it, but not as much as me. Not as much, not even slightly. Not physically, not as much mentally, but more like financially. Financially, and yeah, financially, I'd say. And it just made her lose the foundation she was at, when she used to live in her own apartment, rent a place, and work at a hotel. But no, my dad had to come in and ruin everything and fucking convince everyone to do this, do that, and fucking trust him for once. And you trust the guy saying, okay, well, maybe we can believe him one time. Nope. Nope. You believe him one time and you get stuck in a place for 3 months because the fucking asylum in Germany is bullshit. And it was just horrible. It was horrible. I didn't deserve any of it. Neither did my mother. And I had to spend the entire fucking year until this year where I could finally apply for a college and go to school. I waited an entire I waited a year to apply, and I waited so February an entire year, and add to that 5 more months. No, wait, 7 more months to actually start studying in that college. I should have started when I was 16 or 17 at least. I am 18 now, and I can't wait to move out. So yeah, that's my story, I guess. A lot of ups and downs, mostly downs, and yeah, I think whoever watches this understands why I'm sometimes an angry person, why I'm so sentimental, emotional, personally, in which I am. I don't show it right now, but when I'm alone, it is quite evident. So, I think that's it. Listen, I don't. This video is too long anyway. I don't want to talk about it anymore. If I want to continue this again, mention some stuff I want to mention again, maybe I'll do like a part 2. But we'll see. Anyways, this was the Captain Hope Corps, because every day I'm trying to search for hope. I'm trying to find. I'm not find. I'm trying to give myself hope. Pushing through it all, even after all of the stuff that I just told you guys that I went through. I'm still pushing on, and I'm still trying to give choose hope at the end of the day. So yeah. Anyways, this was the Captain, and I'll be seeing you at another episode. Bye bye.